So you covered the Warriors in the league for years. I do think they match up with Dallas pretty well. I'll get to that in a second. It's fascinating. Jason Kidd got a job as an NBA coach and bombed. And yet in this series, and we all love Monty Williams, whatever it was, he found kind of his groove. It kind of worked. What do you make of, by the way, I don't think people thought he was a good hire, Ethan, if I recall.
No, this is one where the intelligentsia, NBA Twitter, if you will, were dead wrong. He's been coach of the playoffs. And I wonder if it's a sea change in NBA coaching, Colin. Now, this is a crazy direction to take it. But Louis C.K. did a recent YouTube series on the U.S. presidents. He categorizes, and people can think whatever they want about Louis C.K., but he categorizes all the presidents as either nerds or cowboys. And I think that's true with NBA coaches. You had the era of the nerd. The former players didn't grasp analytics. They didn't get that 3 was more than 2. So you had to get these nerdy coaches who had their intricate systems, the Coach Budenholzer out there in Milwaukee, for instance. But now the former players do grasp that 3 is more than 2. They do grasp the analytics, and it helps to have that swagger. It helps to have that buy-in from the players. So you have Jason Kidd confidently calling out Luka and saying he has to participate on defense. That's a harder thing to do when you're a Budenholzer, when you're a guy who hasn't played. But Jason Kidd is respected. Does Jason Kidd focus on some sort of intricate system? No. If you look at the clips of him, he is trapping Devin Booker, and he's like a point guard out there. It's practically the sixth man. He's on the sidelines. He's yelling when to trap. He's directing traffic. So there's something interesting happening in the NBA right now. You've got 3 out of 4 former players in the Final Four. It seems like the era of the nerd coach might be shifting a little bit to the era of the cowboy coach. No, and Jason Kidd exemplifies that.
It's a really interesting thought. I do think the Warriors can throw Kuminga, Draymond Green, Wiggins at Luka, but it's an interesting Warriors team. Ethan, you covered them. They feel old. They feel vulnerable, do they not?
Yeah, it does feel a little similar to End of the Last Dance vulnerabilities, right?
Yeah.
Where, what's tricky for them, it's the entire core, absent Jordan Poole, who's new, feels mortal. Feels like it's harder for Steph Curry to get off that three-pointer. Klay sometimes looks like Game 6 Klay, but there are a lot of nights where it's more shots than points, right? And it just seems like they're getting by on a lot of guile. And I got to say, I'm trying to even remember what the series odds are. It's no slight to the Warriors necessarily, but it seems like they are overtly favored. I think they are minus 6.5 in their first game at home. It seems like that's a brand name selection in the gambling community. It seems like the Mavericks should be getting more respect if we're not doing it based on brand name, based on maybe 2016 thinking, and we're just looking at the rosters and taking away the labels.
Yeah. I was saying it's the 70s NBA I grew up with, which gets criticized, but mostly because the league wasn't well run, the marketing stunk, the revenue was in peril. The league now is very, very vibrant. I found this, now the Game 7 stunk. I found the first 2 rounds exhilarating. I think the stories are great. I think the stars are fascinating, young, international, domestic. What do you make of the current NBA?
It feels like the NFL, Colin. I don't know who's going to win the championship. The Warriors might have been favored in the series, but it feels more like a toss-up to me. And I would be shocked if the Miami Heat ended up winning the title out of this Final Four, but any of the others make sense to me. I feel as though the Suns getting knocked out and the way they got knocked out, devastated, humiliated, destroyed, it kind of just spoke to the random feeling of this. And if not the random feeling, just the sense that there are possibilities. It's not predictable. And it does seem to be resonating. I think it's been an incredible postseason, notwithstanding the boring Game 7s, but the unpredictability, the sense that you, a fan, you could have your team win the championship. Nobody thought Dallas would have a shot at the championship going into this season. They seem to have a legitimate shot. I think that speaks to how the NBA might finally be getting some of that parity it always wanted.
It's the Harden, the Doc Rivers situation, the KD, the Kyrie. You know KD a little. You sparred with him multiple times. Deep down, I said this a couple of weeks ago, I think he needs to go to the owner and the GM and just say, it's time to move off Kyrie. In fact, the GM ripped Kyrie, as I was gone last week, publicly, which I think he had to get the okay from Kevin Durant to do that, or at least felt comfortable. That was my interpretation of what the GM of Brooklyn did. He got the okay from KD to rip Kyrie. What was your interpretation?
Yeah, and it's interesting. There are reports coming out that Kyrie is getting turned down by Nike. I don't recall such reports usually making their way in the media. I'm not alleging any conspiracies, Colin, but there just might be an effort behind the scenes in Brooklyn. There just might be a green light that we're sick of this guy. It's time to go after him, no holds barred, whatever sort of phrase you want to use. And yeah, I think that is informed typically with the other superstar, because it's not like this organization just changed characterologically overnight. This was an obsequious operation. They kissed the butts of the stars out there. If they're turning on a dime like this and crushing one of the stars, they have to have gotten some internal okay, I believe, from the guys on that roster.
All right. I don't know who I like. I think if Golden State stays healthy, I'd take them. I think I like them. You're not a big prediction guy, but your thoughts about who you'd take?
I guess I'm going to go with Boston. I'll go with the Celtics. There were people who were saying that it was the Eastern Conference Finals, that last semifinals with the Bucks and the Celtics, and maybe the NBA Finals. I'm going to go with that. They're just a really well-balanced team. They've got that core that is coming into their age at the exact right moment. I'm a little scared picking a team that has never won it or never been in the finals. You know, it's very hard for teams when they just get in the finals to get blitzed a little bit. But if I have to pick one team and make a prediction, I'm going with Boston.
Ethan Strauss, Warriors NBA podcast. It's called House of Strauss. It's great seeing you again, my man.
Fantastic, Colin. Anytime, man.
You bet. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.